So this is going to be a video going over what you need to do for a cut, bulk, off season, start prep, anything with that kind of thing. I'm going to be going through the fundamentals of what you actually can use to benefit your diet, whether that's whatever your goals are, and different tools that I use to monitor different aspects, and my kind of points on what you should do with your training off season or cutting, etc. So the first kind of thing that you need to do is, whatever your goal is, you need to find out your calories. So you can either message someone like me and get them to go through a system to find your calories, or you can do it two other ways. You can eat the food what you're eating, and if you're putting weight on, then you're in a surplus. If you're losing weight, you're in a deficit. But if you stay flat and you don't lose weight for so long, that's a maintenance. That's your maintenance calories. That's where you will work. But the second option is to either use MyFitnessPal, which I think they make it slightly lower, or a calorie calculator. There is some poor ones, but I will put in the description one of the ones that I use, and it has worked with my calories. The second tool for dieting is going to be, or whatever your goals are, it's going to be using MyFitnessPal with your calories and basically finding what macros work for you, for one, or the same again, you could use a calculator to work out your macros. So some people like to just eat very low fat, high carb, high protein, and some people like a bit of fat in there. This always comes down to food as well, because a fat isn't always the same. So say peanut butter, a good fat, compared to, let's say vegetable oil, for an example. They're two different fats, and obviously this is a much better fat, the peanut butter, compared to the oil. And also the oil will actually have monounsaturated and also polyunsaturated, which you don't want too much of. So if you are getting fats, you want your fats from your meals. So what I mean by that is your meats, so red meats, etc. If you like pork, you can get quite lean pork if you're dieting, etc. And getting your nuts, your fats from nuts with your peanut butter, or I don't even know if I've got any actually in the cupboards. Nope, not at the moment, because I'm dieting. I haven't actually got any in. Just eat nuts and seeds and different things like that. It's getting a very good fat in. It's very healthy fats. But yeah, once you've figured out your macros and it's been calculated, then the next thing you have to do is download MyFitnessPal, and then I will be going through on my phone in a minute on what I do with MyFitnessPal, and I think ways to change things and what you need to do. And I will also be putting in a link to a video what I found to give to people so that they get used to MyFitnessPal. Showing you everything as well, so then it's me explaining it also as well as someone else, as sometimes I think I don't explain things properly. It's just the way that my mind is. I don't think I explain things properly. Yeah, we're gonna go do that now. I will see you on the next video after I go through discussing what you need to do with MyFitnessPal to start with. So this is where we start. So you download MyFitnessPal, go on to MyFitnessPal, once it loads, and what you need to be doing is, once you have your calories, going down to goals. You can put your weight in and stuff to track it. I suggest it's best to do that because it gives you say if you're tracking for 2 years, it will tell you what weights you were, everything. To go to nutrition goals, calories and macros, go to calories, type in your calories. So like say mine's 3,500 at the moment. This is where once you've figured out your macros, what work for you or calculated by a calculator, etc., is you want to be able to move these around. So my protein actually needs to go up on this. I'm always going over that. So that needs to go to 25. So I'm going to drop carbs to 50%. If you go premium, I think you can actually go to a certain percent, certain grams of everything. But this works for me. So say you're like me, it's 50, 25, 25. You put that in, come out. You can set your weekly goals. So look, mine's £2 at the moment. And then what you need to do every day is come in with every meal you have or every meal you have planned, put it into breakfast. So say if like today for breakfast I had porridge, 125 grams. Then you'll have to find these. This is like a list. So basically once you start kind of tracking everything, you will start having a list of foods that you use, and they stay on here quite a lot. I can't remember how long they stay on. If you're using them, they stay on all the time, but I think that if you're not using them, they do taper off. But there is a lot you can search for on here, and I will show you the other option if you cannot find it in a minute. So right, peanut butter, 50 grams, soya milk. See, I haven't got soya for some reason in here. Soya milk, 250. Then that takes it off from your calories. One thing that I would suggest is not to put your basically automatically put it to your step counter or your exercise. So, because that will basically add that on, and it basically adds it to your remaining calories when you do not want to be eating that. So yeah, so that's what you have to do. I will show you the other option if you cannot find the foods, but also what you can do is you can scan meals or things for meals. So say this jar of bolognese sauce or whatever it is, onion and garlic, something. Scan it. It's a pasta sauce actually. Scan it. It will come in. Put how much you actually use. So like, say if this jar is 500 grams and you make 3 meals out of it, you just basically divide the 500 into 3 and put that in. So just say if you had a bigger meal, so you can go into normal 1 gram and put it in, or you can just do the 100 grams. So like, just say if you do 200 grams of that and put that in, and then put the rest of your meal in. And there is also another thing that you can do. So you can go to recipes or meals. So you can put your own meals in here, so that when you just type Cocoa Pops 100 grams or a Nesquik shake or whatever. So like, say this high calorie shake that I used to have when I was bulking. You don't need to put all these items in. You could just type high calorie shake and it would come up and it would just put all that in. So let's say if add that to a meal, see, all comes in. So 500 mils of milk, protein powder, oats and peanut butter. And there is a new section on it now, which I haven't tried. I don't need to, because I know what my calories are, etc. But it's called plans. But I don't know if this is for other premium. You can do like a 28-day free of different like plans of food. So like this one's a high protein, and it will, but my calories are a lot higher just because of muscle mass, etc. It just says that this is better for people with 2,200 calories to 1,200, and it'll just work it out. So this would be, basically this will be just a high protein diet, and it will have like meals, snacks, whatever to fit your goals. It will have like fiber, fruits and veg, grains. You can even do it if you're vegetarian, which is quite good for people who have started. I obviously know what I'm doing as such with my calories and what calories work for me. So yeah, that's what works for me, and that's a good tool to use when you are cutting and trying to put size on, so off-season bulking, just so that you can track everything that you eat and you know what you're doing and everything else. Yeah, that's it for that. We will go on to my next tool while I'm on the phone. The next tool is, I use this now purely because when I was using a watch, it was calculating my cardio as well. So I use this on my phone. It's just Samsung Health. I was using a watch, and this is how I track my activity. So what you need to do is go to You can tell I've only set this up and then done it. Yeah, well, when you come in, it will ask you what goals you want. I can't actually find it at the moment. Find what step goal you want. Mine's 18,000. That's because I am very active through the week. Like today, I've only done probably nearly 8,000. That'll probably be about 10,000, hopefully, by the time I've done everything I need to do today. But you can track your steps. So yesterday was nearly 14,000. That was nearly 20,000. See, I'm quite active. Sundays, see, that's a Sunday. These are days that my partner done some of the school runs, so I'm less active a bit. But yeah, so that's tracking to keep your activity kind of quite to a level. I kind of set 18,000 because 18,000 is just over 1,000. I think it's like 1,100 calories, something like that. And what I have been doing to kind of keep an eye on my activity a little bit now and again is I've actually started putting in my my workouts. So I've started, rather than just the walking, putting in my cardio in with it to see how active calorie wise it all is together, which is an easy way to do it because then you can just track. You put that in, it will tell you your calories of what you have actually used through activity and through cardio. And yeah, that's the second tool really. That's the simple tool really. It's you just want when you're dieting, you want your activity to be to the same level or higher when you want to lose more. So you're trying to keep your activity high, have a bit of cardio if you need to, and be in a deficit with your calories. So this next part is going to be discussing the two next things you need to do a dieting or off-season bulking, which is the weights and cardio. So with the weights, it all depends. Say if you've just started, it will all depend on how much you can come into the gym and on that aspect really to start with. So say if you can only come 2 or 3 times a week, then my opinion is to do full body workouts for them days. If not, if you can do pickle, go on. Bloody cat's fighting. You just come in, mate. Go on, back out there. Shush! Shush! Trying to do a video and now this cat's making weird noises and my cat ran away. Why are you running away for again? That cat's gonna annoy me. Yeah, if you can do more like 4 to 5 days, I suggest there's 2 different. There is a lot more training than this, obviously, but there is like kind of 2. Everyone kind of argues about whatever fits yours. Go with that. Try different things to start with. But you could either do push-pull legs, which is what I'm doing at the moment, but predominantly for what I've done for bodybuilding, I've done one body part for 5 days a week. and then I've done 2 body parts per week, and that works really well. There is obviously other training that you can research through YouTube, whatever. There's so much stuff about it. But that's my opinion on weights. I always would suggest people doing weights if they can. If they can't because of illness or physical, then that's understandable. But if they can, I always try to suggest, if it's not their thing, it's not their thing. But it kind of, and unless you're doing something like yoga, dancing, whatever, working muscles, etc., you're not, without going to the gym, you're not gonna kind of, the body's gonna be lost a lot of weight and a lot of cardio or whatever, and the muscle is what kind of makes it look a bit better. And now I'm going to discuss cardio. So with cardio, I always say try to keep it in off season as much as you can for health purposes, and also kind of making you want to be hungry. And but there obviously gets a point when you can't keep it in if you're trying to eat a lot of food. I've took it out a few times in off-season, bulk, whatever. But I'm going to talk about mostly cutting now. Is at first I would just clean the diet up, be a bit more active, be in the gym, get used to that, and kind of, if your weight starts to stall or anything like that, then add in a small amount of cardio. That could be going for a walk to start with or whatever, and as you progressively cut, increasing the time and the intensity. So what I mean by intensity, I don't mean running on a running machine like a whatever, nutter or whatever. What I mean is, for bodybuilders, most of the time it's just slow paced, but you just put resistance on, or put, say if you was on a running machine, put it upwards more, so it's more of a struggle, so you're uphill. But if you're not doing bodybuilding and you're not too fussed about keeping or building as much muscle as possible, high intense training is good for short periods of time, because if you haven't got much time, you can do high intense hit. But yeah, really it's just progressing with your cut, really. If your weight starts slowing down, you can take the food away, or you can increase the cardio. I always try, this is why mine's on 3,500. I'm trying to keep my calories high and do the cardio, but I'm also active quite a bit. That's why my calories are 3,500. Because if you drop your calories too much, you're just going to get to a point where you can't really drop them anymore, so you're still going to have to up the cardio. But it works different ways. If you don't want to do cardio, you could drop the food a bit, etc. It all depends on the goals, really, and what you want to do with it. I hope that's helped in a way. There may be a next one if I'm go and sit down and look through my phone and look through different things, what I use or what I do, to help you guys with your progress. But yeah, MyFitnessPal and the activity and the cardio and the weights and everything else, all of that together, it's basically monitoring what you're doing. So you know everything you eat, you know everything, every step you do you know how much cardio you're doing, you know everything near enough. You can even put in your water on there, so you know how much water you're having every day. Because one of the main things I find is most people don't drink enough water. So really, if you're in the gym and you're quite active, you should be having about 4 to 5 litres. Most people don't even have 2, when you should have 2 even without being in the gym.